So since the Washington Capitals won the Stanley Cup back in 2018, there's been a little bit of a pattern here for the Capitals, and it's been in the wrong direction. They just fired their head coach, Todd Reardon, and they're going to be looking for someone new to step behind the bench for the Capitals. We're going to be taking a look at some of the possible options for the Capitals in this video. If you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey and want to see the latest news around the NHL, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe down below, and let's take a look at some candidates for the Washington Capitals head coaching job. Ooh, man, so it's been a rough road here recently for the Washington Capitals. Since they won that Stanley Cup back in 2018, it seems like every year since then, it's gotten a little bit more difficult for this team. The year after winning the Stanley Cup, they got beat by the Pittsburgh Penguins, who the Penguins finally avenged their demons. You have the Carolina Hurricanes last season, who would unfortunately take them out in the first round, which was probably one of the bigger upsets of the 2019 Stanley Cup playoffs. And then in the 2020 Stanley Cup playoffs this season, the Washington Capitals really struggled in their round robin against the other top four teams in the Eastern Conference. And unfortunately, in the first round, they played the New York Islanders, who were coming in pretty hot. They ended up losing to the Islanders in 5 games in that best-of-7 series. So we're going to be taking a look at the Caps today, just some of the things that they have to fix. And it's not going to be just coaching. They have some things, personnel-wise that I think need adjusting. So obviously the forward group looks pretty solid there for the Washington Capitals. Any team that has the great 8, Alexander Ovechkin, you're going to be able to make a pretty solid group out of that. You've got Ovechkin, Kuznetsov, Nick Backstrom as he continues to get older, and hopefully this recent injury he had in the postseason isn't something that will be a problem long term, because he is starting to get older. So that's something to keep in mind. You've got some young guys like Jake Verona, you've got Tom Wilson. So I'm not too worried about the Washington Capitals forward group. I don't think there's going to be a ton of change in that category, and considering they have a couple of young guys we saw on this blue line, which I think is the bigger issue. I think the blue line has definitely been taking a hit recently. They do have guys like Brendan Dillon. They do have John Carlson, who Carlson did not look 100% in this playoff series, so he's got to fix that this offseason. He is the top defenseman on this Capitals team. We did see some guys like Jonas Siegenthaler, Brandon Pito, I think his name is. So he looked all right. I guess it's better than talking about how awful he played in his first couple of games. So it was good seeing him in the lineup. And the Washington Capitals still have young guys, like I said, Pino, Siegenthaler is still fairly young. You still have Connor McMichael, who will hopefully be coming into the fold for the Caps next season. So the Capitals definitely have some excitement moving forward. But just as of right now, the one question that we had, which it's probably already answered, but in between the pipes, you've got Ilya Samsonov, the Russian goaltender, who hopefully his injury that he had on an ATV, hopefully that doesn't cause any problems down the road for Samsonov. Braden Holtby will be walking away in free agency. Hasn't been confirmed at this point, but we could all assume that is more than likely the scenario, considering the Capitals don't have a ton of cap space. But Braden Holtby's lack of performance over the last 2 years in the Stanley Cup playoffs has been an issue, and I think the Capitals want to move on from him either way. And then that leaves behind the bench. So you had Todd Reardon, who toward the end of that Islanders series, you could just tell his message in the room just deteriorated. There were actually points, they actually showed Alexander Ovechkin just hanging off the side of the boards and not even asking Reardon, not getting the call. He basically, Ovechkin was running the shots for the bench. And when you get to that point, the respect for that head coach definitely drops. And I'm sure that the Capitals management saw that and at that point realized, yeah, this is not going to work long term. Now, I remember talking a couple of weeks ago, months ago, about how there might be some issues here with Todd Reardon long term with the Caps, that they were looking at possible options, during the pandemic, that they were, starting to explore that possibility. The fact they played horrible in the round robin and lost in the first round yet again, it made it quite easy for the Capitals to make up their mind on what they had to do with Reardon. They had to let him go. So now we get to the juicy part of the video, the rumors. So there's plenty of head coaching options available for the Washington Capitals. I think the two big ones that we're going to be talking about in this video are former Toronto Maple Leafs head coach Mike Babcock and former Vegas Golden Knights head coach Gerard Gallant. Now, there are a couple of other names in the mix there. You could say a guy like Peter Laviolette could be in that mix as well, but I'm going to say those are the top three. But definitely Babcock and Gallant. You know, the Washington Capitals want a head coach that has experience, and that seemed to be an issue with Todd Reardon, and maybe they're starting to think about maybe we shouldn't have let Barry Trotz go, and the fact he went to the Islanders, who just beat them in the first round, probably stings a little bit more there for the Capitals in not re-signing him a couple of years back. They're going to have to figure this out. I'm going to say right now, do I like Mike Babcock or Gerard Gallant more? Which one of those would I like to see with the Capitals? It's tough. But if I'm going to be honest, I think Mike Babcock might be the right choice there in Washington. Now, hear me out. Some of you may be saying, what are you saying? Are you crazy? Yeah, I am crazy. That's a good point. Thank you. But I really think that Mike Babcock is going to create structure. And that's something that seemed to get away from the Capitals with Todd Reardon. Barry Trotz, look at what he's done with the New York Islanders. You know, he's just created a base structure for that team to follow. And Todd Reardon, it was more of a run and gun style. Now, I guess Gerard Gallant is on that side of things as well. But I feel like Mike Babcock, if he's able to get in that room and they're able to play well, you know, I think the problem is Ovechkin, Nick Backstrom, TJ Oshie. How are they going to feel about a guy like Mike Babcock kind of being, you know, breathing on their neck all the time as veterans? I don't know how that would necessarily play out, but I think a just complete 180 for the Washington Capitals is the right way. Do you go wrong with Gerard Gallant? Absolutely not. I think the better coach available is Gerard Gallant, but considering Mike Babcock, what he did with the Detroit Red Wings, yes, things didn't work out with Toronto, but this is a different team in Washington. And if he goes in there and tells these guys, listen, you guys have a really good hockey team. We're going to add a little bit more structure to the team like you had with Barry Trotz, and we're going to get this thing rolling again and maybe get another run, you know, maybe another 1 or 2 year run here for the Washington Capitals. That's been extended because of the goaltending situation. I am worried about that defense, but the forward group looks really solid still with guys like Connor McMichael still coming up in the wings. It's an exciting future ahead for the Washington Capitals. Picking the right head coach here, though, is pretty critical considering Ovechkin is getting older, and that's something, you know, with some of these contracts they have with John Carlson, TJ Oshie, Wilson, as that kind of starts to, you know, eat up for the Washington Capitals, that could be an issue. Considering the salary cap will not be moving up too much over the next couple of years, once again, a little bit of a concern here for the Washington Capitals. But let me know in the comment section down below, who do you think would be the better head coaching candidate here for the Washington Capitals? Do you like Gerard Gallant, or do you like the more stiff arm approach with Mike Babcock? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to help us get to 500 subscribers, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe down below. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.